this is like the Upgrade weekly give back call, right? So it's about talking a little bit, but then adding a little value, like I saw on your list there. You're going to wow them, with the most free and effective way to wow your clients, like stuff. That's a good give, right? Something like that. And then future-proofing your business, how to step away confidently, right? Those are all we could probably spend an hour on each one of those if we really
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to. Yeah.
for sure. We have
They're
two
all,
people on, already, Mike. I don't
all
know.
right. Mhm.
Hello, welcome.
Perfect. We'll give them another second. We got, it's only 11:59, so we'll let
Another,
everyone join in while me and Matt small talk.
I see him
So,
hopping on now. You ready for a baseball game tomorrow night?
oh my gosh, Lisa, we've never been there. So Matt invited Lisa and I and some other friends down to go to the Aviators baseball stadium, which she brought up a picture. It is a really nice stadium, like a great
Really
venue.
nice, yeah.
So,
It's fun.
excited.
It's a good experience.
What are you planning for Father's Day?
You know what? I didn't even realize it was Father's Day until yesterday. So I don't know. My 15-year-old, she leaves tomorrow for 18 days on a mission trip to Thailand. So
Wow.
it'll be a different Father's Day without her there. But yeah, that's kind of been the focus on the family this week for sure.
Yeah, no doubt on there. I was trying to figure out what to do. So me and Mike were like just brainstorming. Then Alex, right, the guy who helps us out with the dog, everything, driving on there. And I realized he wasn't getting along well with his daughter. His mom's in San Francisco with a broken ankle. So I said, Mikey, Alex randomly mentioned that he likes pinball. What about going down to the pinball museum? We'll go pick up Alex. We'll take him out to lunch, and the three of us do like Father's
There
Day
you go.
together. Give back to him a little bit. So yeah, he's like, that's a great idea. So we're going to play pinball.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, on there. And Leslie, how's she doing?
She's doing good. Just again, getting Leslie or Mia ready for that long trip. That's been her focus, but she's good. She's been helping with the business recently, jumping in more. It's been great.
Perfect. Any other trips coming up this year for you guys?
No, we'll try squeeze in a family trip right after Mia gets back from Thailand, but we'll see how tired she is after that and go from there.
Yeah, imagine Jeff Burke is with us. Awesome. Leslie Farnham. Awesome. Good to see you, Leslie.
Speaking of Leslie,
All right, so we'll get started. People will continue to drip in, and a lot of these go, Matt. Some people come to the webinar, and then a lot more people watch it on the replay because everyone's lives are busy and stuff. So welcome, everyone. So I know Leslie and Jeff know me. If you don't know me, my name is Mike Shum. And a little quick background, for the last almost 40 years, I've been building small businesses around the country in different states. And I've spent the last 22, 23 years in the real estate space, building a couple of real estate teams and then coaching hundreds of agents and teams to scale with the larger profits on there. And then, I don't know, earlier this year, Spring was like, hey, I got this great opportunity. We're building this community. You want to be a part of it and help attract like-minded individuals. And what I love about it so much, guys, is there's plenty of coaching and information out there on how to sell a house and do an open house. But what Spring and Matt bring to the table is what I've learned is just as important as learning sales skills and how to do those activities. It's that mind-body connection. It's getting your head in the game. Like I plateaued a couple of years ago where you can only grind so hard. And then you got to work on improving yourself first to get to that next level. Otherwise, you just get stuck there. So I've learned this from Spring, from doing sound baths. Louis comes in and we do breath work on a regular basis. And just, I've been working on myself for the last year or two. And this is where the growth is coming from. I know, Matt, you with Rooted, right? Your One Life community and all you do and your family values, you believe the same. So Spring had asked, hey, Mike, take care of the vault this week. And if you want to bring a guest, bring a guest. So I was thinking, who could I bring? And it was no one, it was an easy decision. Like Matt is just culture of what we're doing here. So I said, let's bring Matt on. So I'll give you a little funny story, actually, which Matt knows, but not too many people. The only reason I'm living in Vegas and where we live now is I was actually coaching Matt's team a number of years ago. And a great agent on his team, Candace, had reached out and said, hey, Mike, you're not going to believe this. She was single at the time, but I met this guy and I really like him a lot. I want to start dating him, but he lives in Canada. I was like, all right, that's okay. I mean, go give it a shot. But she said, bad news is unfortunately, I have an 11-year-old pit bull, and pit bulls are very illegal in Toronto, where this gentleman happens to live. So my wife, if you guys know Lisa, is the world's biggest dog lover. So Lisa says, hey, Candace, we'll come live at your house and babysit the dog while you go to Toronto and date the guy. Great. I think it's fun, right, Matt? I'm coming to Vegas for a couple of weeks, right? I go to a couple of shows, maybe a hockey game if they're playing. And then we got a call from Candace like a month later. Hey, guys, I really like this guy. I'm not coming home. So the house isn't in Vegas. It was actually in this great little community called Henderson in Green Valley. And we loved it.
Yeah.
So Candace, we'll just take out a mortgage. We'll stay here. You don't have to come home. And she never came home. Her furniture, her belongings, just we moved into them.
And you never left.
And we never left, right, on there. But I'll segue that into Matt, why Matt's such an amazing human and just why he's done so many great things for my family, is to give you an idea of the individual that we're talking to today. So about 3 years ago, I was coaching very successfully, had a full schedule, and then had a bunch of clients on a waiting list. And Matt was one of the clients at the time. And I had to stop cold turkey as my son got so sick, he almost died. He was about 22 years old. And I just had to take care of him. We had to go back and forth to the Mayo Clinic. So I essentially retired, right? And I had no income that I knew of about to come in. And I got a sick kid. Who knows how expensive that was going to be. So Matt, the human that he is, reached out to all my clients and said, oh my gosh, Mikey's really sick. They got a lot on their plate right now. Let's try and make their lives a little bit easier. And Matt, in like one day, raised over $10,000 from my other clients, collected all the money. Then him and his wife, Leslie, went out shopping to find things that Mikey could do because he couldn't leave the house. Board games, cards, a heavy blanket so he could sleep more, gift cards so he can order food because he couldn't leave the house and drive or anything like that. And yeah, they made our lives just in the toughest, darkest moments just that much easier. And we felt loved in a community where we have no friends or family on there. And I was like, wow, what a stand-up guy. That was like the first way I really learned who Matt is and what he does. And then what happened, Thanksgiving came around. Matt, realizing we don't have any friends or family, said, hey, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? Oh, nothing. It's just the three of us. He's like, you got to come over to the house. So he's got his whole family there, right? Just the friendliest, nicest people. And we celebrate Thanksgiving over there. And then the phone rings just before Easter again. Hey, what are you doing? So Matt's unofficially adopted me, Mikey, and Lisa, and just helped us any way he could, made us warm and fuzzy as possible. And he all does everything he does through contribution. And while I was coaching him, one thing he'll talk about a little bit today, I'm sure, is one of the things that impressed me most is I coached all these teams and they're all growing and scaling, but they're all doing it what I call semi-artificially, right? They're hooking up with Zillow, buying leads, or Realtor.com and this. And in analyzing Matt's numbers, a few years ago, it's probably better now. We looked at all the sales he was doing, and 80% plus of all his business was inbound referrals. Like he wasn't buying a lot of leads. He had built up such a reputation across the country that either his past clients or these agents that he's helped and facilitated a relationship send him a tremendous amount of business all the time on there, right? So that's another reason why I wanted Matt to be part of our group. That's a value add that not too many people have figured out, Matt, on how to play the experience game, we'll call it, at such a high level. So I wanted you to be able to share that. And then just all your other contributions is 50% of sales, but then that I learned from Vistage guys. I don't know if you guys know a group called Vistage International. So when I joined the group, it's a group of CEOs, a mastermind group, one from each different industry. And then you're going to help each other, I thought, to grow and scale business. I had to sign a confidentiality piece of paperwork the first time. And in doing that, I went to the first meeting. And I was like, all right, we're going to make the business better. And then we had to go to a whiteboard, Matt. And the first thing on a scale of 1 to 10, you had to write, how are you doing? The second question was, how are you in the important relationships in your life with your spouse, your children? And the third was on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your business? So I quickly started to realize years ago, Matt, if you don't have those things dialed in and taking care of yourself, your health, your vitality, your mindset, and or the relationships that are important to you, you'll never have a great business, right? Those will affect your ability to build, scale, and create a profitable business. So I've learned to always start with those first, and then business becomes easier and more successful. And I know that's another value I do gratitudes with Matt every morning, and something pertaining to himself, his family, and his life, he's contributing to every day. I just know for a fact I see the gratitudes on there. So that's it. That's what I just want to introduce you to this amazing human and how great he is. And I'm so lucky to have him in my life. And he's going to share with us a little bit about himself and more particulars about how to get where we want to go. Take it away,
Cool,
Matt.
Michael. Hey, man, I'm so thankful to be here. A couple things I just want to comment on. First of all, it was not just me and Leslie. There was a lot of people that had a hand in taking care of you and your family. So I don't want to pass up the opportunity to give credit where it's due. And thanks for the intro, man. Just if I could reciprocate half the value to you you've given to me over the years, that's amazing to learn. And one thing I want to share with everybody on here, Mike and I both also follow Dan Sullivan, who's the coach and author for Strategic Coach and some of the books many of you guys have read. But he has two primary things that I've learned from his program. Number one is protect your own confidence first. That's the greatest superpower an entrepreneur needs, right? So that's what you were talking about, Mike. Like if you're not right with your own protecting your own confidence, life's an energy game. We got to make sure our cup is full to pour into others. That's number one. Number two, like the coach I have in that program, I love what he says. He says there's no rich like relationship rich. Like if your relationships aren't firing on all cylinders around you, then who cares about the business, right? Life is all about relationships. So I just want to echo what you said about that and excited to be here. So let's jump in. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, sure. So let's talk, because we'd come up with some bullet points. You may have heard us talking about that before the call. So let's talk about the alignment and how that changes everything. Because here's what I've realized with the teams I've gotten to work with is people come for leaders or they leave because of leaders, right? So whatever your personality type is, the way you go about business, I've learned the teams that attract people that think a similar way, want to work a similar way, have similar values, they thrive. The ones that just bring humans on to like work here, they struggle all the time on there. Like some examples I'll give you of a team in Arizona. They're like old Mike Ferry style. Everyone comes to the office for 3 hours a day, every day, and we prospect, pick up the phones, call expires, right? So you can see in that culture, if you're more a relationship builder and you don't love the phones, that wouldn't be the right culture for you on there, right? Springs culture, right? If you're not into taking care of yourself and your mindset and all of those things, you probably won't fit into Springs world, right? Because they spend a lot of time and see the importance of that. So yeah, I think that's really important we'll share a little bit today is in order to have the best business and the best life, you got to create a tribe of people like Seth Godin's book Tribe that kind of believe in you, your mission, and how you go about things, and everyone gets on the bus, right? We're on the same wavelength, on the same mission, and everything just flows then, right? You're not fighting against people who want to do things a different way or for a different reason on there.
Right. Well, it just makes business so much more fulfilling. And if we start kind of on this idea of alignment, Mike, it's a perfect way to start because it'll probably be the perfect way to end the conversation too. But just to share a little bit of my story is I think so many of us as realtors, entrepreneurs, you may have never thought about it this way before, but we compartmentalize our life. Like we have our marriage, our family, our community, our contribution, our businesses. It gets very exhausting. It's like this idea of spinning plates. Well, I went through this season, Mike, where I really hit burnout, for lack of better words, where I was doing this. And, you know, if I was at home, I felt like I was failing as a realtor because I could be doing more. I'm underperforming my potential, right? If I'm crushing it at work, then I feel like I'm failing as a husband and as a father because I'm not present, I'm not there, I'm missing it. It was this constant just tension of guilt. And man, I just went through this journey where it was this idea of really blurring the lines. And it's that what I learned is like, why not give our family, our kids a bigger story? Instead of separating the business from the kids, from the family, why don't we bring the faith, the marriage, the fulfillment, the purpose, all of that stuff into the business? It's like this rivers flowing in together. I call it one life. But when you blur the lines and just realize, hey, it's my faith, it's my purpose, it's my family, it's our mission lived out through the business, man, it changes everything. And what that looked like practically for us is a few years ago, we rebranded everything we do to Loving Las Vegas through real estate. So instead of Matt and Leslie contributing money or volunteering or donating or, maybe even the team, and then the kids are kind of separate from that. Well, I said, how do we give our kids a bigger story? And here's the deal, Mike, if you're listening right now and your kids don't understand what you're really building, then you have that compartmentalization right now where the goal is if dad's not home for dinner, the kids know why. It's because we're on mission as a family. We're loving Las Vegas through real estate as a family. but there's balances to that. Like the family still needs to know when they can count on you. So, hey, dad might not be home for dinner every night. Like praise God, I am most nights. But if I'm not, they know why. It's because we're on mission as a family, but they know when they can count on me. And that's the trick. Your family just needs to know when they can count on you and show up those moments for sure. And then everything else is just kind of icing on the cake as long as they know. So what's that look like for us practically? We took the kids to serve in the city. They know that we're donating off the top in the business. The whole team knows that. We took the kids to Guatemala to serve at the orphanage that we support and all these different things. I told you, Mike, when we got home, our daughter's heading out to Thailand tomorrow for 18 days on a mission trip. Like, but it's the idea. This whole thing is just merged into one beautiful life. It was just exhausting doing it the other way. And I think a lot of people listening right now probably don't realize they're doing that, but they're spinning all these different plates and it just gets so exhausting.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because this comes up a lot on my calls. So I read some books on this topic, right? And if you go out, Matt, and you ask most people, like, what's the most important thing in your life? They'll almost always respond their family, their children, their wife, right, spouse, right? But then there was I think it was the early coach kind of got me on this one. He's like, oh, I told him same answer. He said, let me see your calendar. So screen share your Google calendar. And wow, look, you have a lot of appointments this week, but you haven't scheduled anything with your family that you said was most important. So I took that to heart. So to your point, Matt, like work can take a lot of your time, maybe most of your time. So it's not we talk about work-life balance. It's not like you're going to spend 20 hours with your family and 20 hours at work and that's your week. What I've learned about family, Matt, real simply, but it has to be strategic, is all they really want is consistent time with you undistracted. So
Yeah.
being present, like if you're going to have dinner, like we have a rule here, if we're having dinner, there's no phones at the dinner table. 'Cause that's our hour to talk about our day and share and do those kind of things on there. So my advice here, I'll give you some coaching advice. If your most important thing to you, or say, are your family, is what I do with Mikey and Lisa is we schedule something at least once a week, right? Besides the dinner, which similar to you, most nights we get to do that. But the one thing I really look forward to is like I mentioned in the beginning of the call, I'm gonna go with Mikey to play pinball on this weekend for Father's Day, right? That'll be undistracted. I'll probably leave my phone in the car, right? We're just going to spend Father's Day together doing that, but it's scheduled. That's the difference, I think. A lot of people say, yeah, they get so busy and then they don't put in the time because the calendar just keeps, getting filled up with more tasks for the work thing. And so that's a good way, guys, is just make a commitment. And I'll share one with you, Matt, because I believe in this so much. So most of you don't know, but Mikey is going to be moving out in about a year, going to grad school on the East Coast, closer to his girlfriend, which I'm excited for. But at the same time, I'm a little bit sad, as it's been him and me for 25 years, right? Living together, working together, moving to all these different states. So I'd asked Mikey if he was up for this challenge, which I just shared on the level 10 call for Upgrade with Spring in the group, and he was. So I said, Mikey, it's going to be our last year. We're going to be in the same house, under the same roof. How do you feel over the next, 52 weeks if we spend about half of them together and you create on our big ass calendar 12 activities, 12 things for you and I to do, and 12 for you, me, and Lisa to do, scheduled. So we make sure we have at least 24 great memories together over the next year, and then you'll be on to your next chapter of your life. And so that's what I do. I schedule these things, right? And they come to fruition because they're on my calendar, so I don't cannibalize them. And I learned that's the important thing: scheduling time with your family and being 100% present, and those relationships will stay strong for a long time.
So let's lean into that for a moment. First of all, if you guys heard Mike say, talking about balance, it's not balance. Balance is not possible if we're just being honest. Harmony is. Harmony is the idea of, yeah, you might spend more hours at work, but that doesn't mean you don't have that harmony in your life. I think that is possible. But what Mike's saying is there's a difference between trying to include the most important things in our day versus ordering our life around that which is most important, right? Most of us try and include the workout into our day, the time with our spouse, the time with our kids, the time with whatever that is that matters most to you and your day. Well, we all know how that goes. If you order your life around that which is most important, which to Mike's point would be on your calendar, that's the hack. And I totally agree with you, Mike. We're like on our deathbed, nobody says, I wish I would have sold more homes. They wish they would have had more focus on interrupted time with who matters most, right? And it's funny, Mike, I heard it said recently, so many people, especially right now, we're all about this influence game, right? We want to be influencers. Well, the problem is if you think about influence, you think about fame. Most people, what fame is working tirelessly for the approval and attention of others at the expense of who actually cares, right? Because it's at the end of your life, the people who are actually going to be around, that service when we go are not the ones we're trying to get famous for, probably quite honestly. So to your point, how do we become more present? And I think that we can talk practically how to build the business in such a way where we can, what most agents haven't figured out is how do I step away confidently, where I can actually let the business run and I can go home and be actually not just in proximity, but present with my family or with whatever matters most to me, whether it's community, whether it's church or whatever that is for you. And I think that practically we can do that. We can build a business to support the life. So we can get into that if you want to as well.
Yeah, so yeah, a couple of things to unpack there just from my learnings. So one was the books I read about people in nursing homes. And there's only two people in a nursing home, the ones with regrets and the ones without regrets. And to interview the ones with regrets, it's always the same thing. It wasn't they made more money if they sold more houses. They wish they would have done more things with their family or traveled a little more or experienced life. And now it's too late. So they're regretful. So if you don't want to have regrets while you're happy, healthy, and maybe a little bit younger, you want to create those memories and those experiences because the way the human brain works, you guys can all do this on this call. Go back 5 or 10 years. Do you remember how many homes you sold in 2017? No, but you might remember that trip you took to Disney with your kids, right? Or that you married your wife for the second time again, right? Those are the only things that really stick. So that's why I'm so adamant about creating them now because I've read these books that if you don't, at some point, it starts becoming too late to do certain things and you get regrets. I want no regrets. So I'm going to schedule as much as I can. The two books that Matt was talking about, which I'll just tell you specifically because they've helped to change my life and they're amazing. One is the book behind me there from Dan Sullivan, 10X is better than 2X, which is a lot of why I love working with Spring, Matt, is they practice something called geometric thinking, not linear thinking, right? So linear is 1, 2, 3, 4. When we're working with Spring and the upgrade community, it's like, how do we go from 1 to 5 to 20? And it's just different. Again, it's all up here. It's just as plausible. It's just as easy or hard, but we've been conditioned. So what I want to mention about, you said previously, so I've had the ability to work in other industries besides real estate with some of these businesses. So one thing I've noticed specifically about real estate, there's a badge of honor to grind, to get up at 4 in the morning, right? Work out for an hour or two and then work for 12 hours. And then when you're done with that, you got to show people you're successful. So you buy expensive shit that you really don't need to impress the people you really don't care about on there, which is the Darren Hardy class I took, Matt. And it said 98% of all human behavior, what humans really do is they mimic other humans, especially the ones in their tribe. So whenever this started years ago, and that was like to be a successful real estate agent and, to be looked at as an influencer or whatever, right? It's about working an insane amount of hours, nights and weekends. And a lot of times there's a lot of high divorce rate in our industry, right? Because they're not keeping an eye on those family values and time with them on there. So yeah, it's an interesting observation. I think a lot of the influence why so many people in the industry don't spend as much time on there because they're on social all day. And I see this all day through my feed, right? I'm at the gym at 4:30. No one's here. Look at all the lazy people in the world, right? Kind of stuff, right? And I'm like, wow, is that, that's the influence they're getting. So they're just mimicking the behavior. And now you got an industry of people that struggle with this work-life balance and family values.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Where do you want to go from here, Mike? You want to talk about just?
Well, you mentioned it. So you mentioned towards the end there, like how do we step away confidently, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think that.
Good.
Well, I was going to say, let's get into that, but I think before that, let me just kind of share an overall philosophy, if I could, to set the stage to get there, and just how we've built our business. And not that we got this all figured out, but let me just tell you what I have found work for me to try and be more present and to have that work-life harmony. And first of all, for us, and be profitable at the same point. So in my city in Las Vegas, and many of you can relate, is you guys ever feel like it's in a race to the bottom right now? Like we're all working harder for less money. Like that's definitely Las Vegas. We're ground zero for disruption. So we got Opendoor and the Zillows and I'll sell your house for this and all that noise, right, is in our marketplace. And Mike, I just believe, and you and I have talked offline about this in the past, but I believe that if you think of that as noise, I think that it's not going to, eventually it'll penetrate my raving fan, my sphere of influence client. But I do believe I have the longest runway with that client before they notice the billboard, they hear the radio ad. Because when they hear real estate, they think Matt, they think Team Farnham, they think, they don't have to, that doesn't apply to me. So we want to go all in on sphere of influence. Number one, we're not paying referral fees off that. It's more profitable business. And on a sidebar, to your point on the agent referral business, paying a 25% referral fee to an agent friend on a very high rapport client is very similar to the sphere of influence business. It's just for me, it's a more fulfilling way to do business, number one, because it's about relationships. And frankly, it's more profitable and less to manage. And it really just helps align. When I talk about this idea, Mike, of maximizing capacity as well, what I mean is so many of us in real estate, we're so quick, as you said earlier, to go sign up for the next shortcut, the next shiny hack, and what we end up doing is create another spinning plate. Where if we would just slow down and say, okay, where does God already have me in my life right now? Because I bet many of you guys listening, you're already find yourself on the sidelines of the soccer field multiple nights a week, or the dance studio, or the book club, or whatever that is at your stage of life. And I would challenge you, are you really, picture squeezing something until it pops out the top, right? Are you really squeezing everything you can out of where you're already at in your life before we go sign up for something else to have to manage, another plate to spin? And I would submit or challenge most of you, probably not. So when you're going all in on relationships of where you're already at in your life, this is how we maximize capacity, have less spinning plates. And by the way, it's a more profitable and fun way to do business anyways, right? So that would kind of set the stage, Mike. And as we've talked about, like creating raving fans, so we have more of these types of clients, that can look a lot of different ways. So you talked about the client experience, right? So yeah, we try and wow clients along the way, and that's a fun way to do business. But to unlock that stepping away confidently, what I've learned to be true is although champagne and balloons is fun, right? When we do the client experience, we want to celebrate moments. The Power of Moments is an incredible book. If you haven't read it, that's what Mike's talking about, creating these moments with Mikey, like that you can really mark people with moments. And we do really lean into that. But let me tell you what I've really learned to be true. You might want to write this down, is that our client's experience will rise and fall based on the communication they receive. It doesn't matter if they get balloons, if they get a nice bottle of champagne, if they get a cute frame of their dog that passed away that's custom made, right, Mike? Remember that with Lisa? You got that's so sweet.
That one?
Now, those moments are special, but I'm telling you guys, when you're working with people or you're prospecting with them, if you sell their house for full price or over asking price, but they don't know what's going on, they're not having a great experience, no matter what the result was or no matter how nice the bottle of champagne is. So what are we doing? Because uncertainty brings anxiety, right? They have to know what's going on. So what we learned is to really lean in and double down on communication. And Mike, we have a mantra, for our team, it's the phone rings for new business only. If you have to call my office and say, hey, Matt, hey, Molly, hey, Kristen, hey, what's going on with blank? We've already lost the game, in my opinion. But here's the beautiful thing, Mike, when you really slow down, roll up your sleeves, get under the hood, right? And tighten the bolts and build that business. Now we create a better experience for the client. So they're getting informed every step of the way, future pacing, reinforcing expectations. We could talk what that looks like practically if you want. But here's the cool thing. It's a better experience for them, but it's way less gotta minutes for me. What most realtors do is they're on their heels. If you think of sports, it's like you're in a vulnerable position in basketball, hockey, football, when they're coming at you with their questions, their concerns, their fires. But if you're on your toes and you're initiating that contact, that's a powerful position. So now when we're ahead of everything, better experience for the client. And guess what? I have evenings and weekends with my family with very few gotta minutes or very few interruptions. And so does my staff, because we communicate at such a high level and we're ahead of everything. So that's how we practically, if you think about raving fans, more profitable, less spinning plates, maximizing capacity where I'm already at in my life, and then you communicate at an incredible level, it really creates this beautiful life where you can enjoy what you're doing with people you love doing it with, and step away confidently because all their questions are answered before they even have them.
Wow. I picked up on this. I know you don't hear about this kind of talk much. I didn't know we were going to go in this direction. But what Matt's talking about, I realized early on, when I first started real estate, the market was a little bit slower. And I'd take a listing, and then being a novice, I didn't realize that I should reach out to them every week, at least once or twice, even if there's nothing good to share with them. Otherwise, that became a headache, right? They would call me a couple of weeks, hey, what's going on? So I learned this in reading a bunch of books. Like if you read any statistics about consumers and real estate agents, what's the number one challenge they said was with their realtor, like this has been my whole career, 20 years, it's always communication, poor communication, lack of communication, and that kind of stuff. So what I learned, Matt, like how often in this country does someone buy or sell a house? Once
Every
10 years, 10
five.
years, yeah,
Right.
somewhere.
Yep.
It's many years, right? So when we talking about buying a house or selling a house, you nailed it. It creates an emotion called uncertainty. They don't know how long this is going to take, what's the process, how much is it really going to cost me, and all of these other variables. So as soon as they decide to sell a house or buy a house, they have stress, fear, and anxiety as their three main emotions. So even on my listing appointment, guys, I bring this up on my first slide. Hey, you haven't really sold this house or moved in a long time. You must be a little anxious not knowing. How about I give you the 10 next steps that we're going to be doing together to get your house on the market, get it marketed, and bring the buyers in? So the word Matt used was future pacing. So I would write that down, put a star next to it. What I've learned to keep my clients happy and to keep the emotions in check. Because once the client's emotions get a little bit, too unstable, hard to manage. But the future pacing creates the certainty for them, so they
Yeah.
don't get there nearly as fast or as often. And what do they always tell me at the end? They love the experience, kind of knowing there's no surprises. They can kind of pace what they had to do or be ready for next.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm with you. So now I future pace as much as I can with everyone and even with the coaching business now. And yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a big key for everyone. Communicate more, whatever you're doing, double it and future pace a lot more than you're doing. And that helps a lot.
Yeah. And let me kind of ping off of that, Mike. So first of all, one thing that I'm talking to my team about right now, and I would challenge you guys listening, is be the certainty your client needs in an uncertain time. Like right now, there's a lot of timidity, hesitation, fear, uncertainty, all those things, but be the certainty they need in an uncertain time. Well, how do I do that? And earlier I started with this idea of what Dan Sullivan teaches, but protect your confidence. Because listen, you can't give away what you don't have. And I would submit to you that right now, the number one thing your clients are buying from you right now, seller or buyer, is your confidence. They're not buying your track record, your transaction count or whatever. Trust me. And here's the best analogy, Mike, for this. And I love this. A friend shared this with me, but and this is really sad to think about. So, but I'm going to pick on my wife for a minute, just as an example. Let's say that Leslie's sick, right? She's got some type of heart condition, and we are needing to get her help. So, like any of you would do, I'm doing all the Google reviews, I'm doing the research, I'm reading about it. Like I got to find her the best surgeon I can. Well, Mike, if I'm interviewing surgeons and we go into a few of them, okay, they're good, they're great, whatever. But imagine walking into you, Mike. You're my surgeon I go into. And you walk into your office, whether it's messy or clean, doesn't matter. There could be half-eaten food, certificates on the wall, whatever. But imagine you scoot your chair to my side of the table, right, instead of across, and you say, hey, Matt, listen, she's going to be okay. Leslie's going to be okay. You're looking at me in the eyes, and you say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to review the information. I'm going to do this and that. It's very clear that this is what's going on with her. So here's the process, and you lay it out for me. And then we're going to go through this period of recovery. She's going to do this, this, and that. Here's what PT is going to look like. And then you end it again with, Matt, she's going to be okay. Like you have that type of bedside manner. Like who are you going to hire to operate on your wife? The one that gave their confidence away to you, right? That's what we got to do in our industry right now. Be the certainty they need in an uncertain time. But it starts with protecting your own confidence because you can't give away what you don't have.
Wow, that is exactly it. Because I've been studying this a lot this year. Because I don't know if you know, Matt, but 71% of agents did not sell a house last year. And it's
Yeah.
only 29% did. So I'm the curious coach, right? Like, why is that? First, the good news, like the ones that are able to create certainty, build trust, because the consumer of today, talk about uncertainty, affordability, interest rates, tariffs, inflation, they all have more credit card debt than they had a few years ago, most likely. They've got, I just rattled off 5 uncertainties. You don't think
Mhm.
they're really freaked out? They need someone who could confidently, because here's my talk on this, Matt. They're watching whatever they watch news, right, every day. Pick your channel, social media, or whatever. And as you guys may or may not know, the news has one job: is to scare the hell out of you because they're in competition with the other news channels, and they've realized scary headlines cause you to watch more.
Yeah.
So every night they're getting this scary news. It's 2008 again. Oh my gosh, right? The markets are all crashing. Oh my gosh, the economy is gonna go to shit. Excuse my language, right? All this stuff. Now they meet realtor for first time. Are you pre-qualified yet? You need a 3 bedroom, a 2 bath? You want to go look at houses today? You're like, I don't
Right.
know. Right. So this is the old, I call it the LP mama, right? And that in a very fast seller's market, that was the approach. But guys, all your trainings have to get burned
Yeah.
because now we're
Yep.
in neutral to buyer markets. And now we have to lead with empathy. We have to work on trust building. And to Matt's point, I actually know this for a fact that you're correct. Because on a lot of teams over the years I've coached, Matt, a newer agent usually, right? We give them a lead, we help them a little bit. And then the consumer comes back and says, "Hey, can I work with another agent?" The number
Mm,
one reason always that they felt the agent wasn't confident enough to help them every time.
yeah.
So I've learned that confidence you come across, the challenge, I'll tell you, why a lot of them not, is unfortunately a few years back, last decade, you didn't have to know that much, but you could still make a decent living, right? Just to show up, you talk to by accident a few people, someone needs to buy quick. In this market, the average consumer is thinking about it or changing their mind 5 to 7 times over the course of a year. So all the money
Yeah.
is made building rapport, lead follow-up guys in this market, which is totally different than your agents have known or been trained. The other is data. The agents need to know the numbers, right? Because they're hearing X on the news. If they don't know exactly what the market conditions are, absorption rate, right? Where homes are really selling. Because interesting, Matt, as I got a report for our marketplace, and where some of the other markets are pretty soft, where I'm living now in a little higher price point, every house
Yeah.
last year sold just about at ask or above. So this market's still hot. So if you're listening to the news and you're talking to a seller in my neighborhood, oh yeah, it's terrible, the market's crashing. They just got the same report I got mailed to them that says every house here sold over X last month. Like, so you got
Right.
to know information and share it correctly. I find a lot of agents don't want to put in the time to learn. Like, hey, give me a lead. I want to go show a house, but
Yeah.
learning because you have to get smarter than your consumer now. I will tell you, right? They've got Google, they've got YouTube, they got ChatGPT now. They think they know
Yeah.
everything, which devalues you. So one thing I would coach you to that I've done for years is I teach my clients when they meet a consumer for the first time, I tell them to drop what I call 3 knowledge bombs in the first 15 minutes. What's a knowledge bomb? Something the consumer probably doesn't know about that you do. And their brain on a subconscious level starts to say, wow, this agent's really smart. They seem to know more. We thought we knew everything, but they know more than us.
Mhm.
We better stick with them on there. But we have to do these things now.
And it doesn't take much, right? It's just knowing a few stats that they don't know. One thing I think I picked this up, might have been up at the behind the scenes event that Sisu did at Spring's office. Maybe Justin or Spring or somebody said, or maybe I heard from you or somebody else. But what I'm really leaning into with our team right now is right now what our clients need from us is a paid professional, not a friendly helper. I think so many agents have gotten by in years past of being a friendly helper. To your point, hey, 3 bed, 2 bath, let's go look at some homes. Like maybe that worked in some markets. It doesn't work right now. We got to get ahead of it. We got to own these conversations. So to your point, the headlines, right? Like I yesterday had a listing consultation. I printed out 3 of the headlines. I said, hey, this is what buyers are reading right now. Now we just have to be aware of this. We can't have our head buried in the sand, but this is the sentiment in the marketplace that they're reading. And now we got to have a conversation around that, right? That's a paid professional, not a friendly helper. And Mike, something I learned from you a long time ago was you talked about empathy. Well, the way that we can be empathetic is, first of all, we got to stay curious longer, right? We got to let them talk. We got to learn as much as we can about them. And guys, Mike shared this with me years ago, and I've used it so many times to train other people. But if you're in a buyer consultation, for example, imagine they're at your conference room in your office. The ultimate goal is when they're now walking down the hallway to head out of the office to go to their car, they need to be thinking this: wow, I think Mike knows everything there is that I'm concerned about, or that I'm anxious about. And I think he has the solution to all my problems. I think he can solve them all. And to Mike, remember, used to say, what's their concerns as you're empathetic and you're curious. Oh, that's perfect. Our team specializes in helping somebody relocate when they have 30 days before they got to fight. Like we specialize in that, right? That's the salesmanship of it. And then the data, yeah, you got to know, you got to know I have 4.97 months of condo townhome inventory. I have 3.57 months of single family inventory. Like those little decimals make a big difference. Are you an expert or are you just, part-time, right?
Yeah, we round all our numbers in this industry, guys. When you use non-rounded numbers, precise, exact numbers, the perception is you are the expert. Like, that 3.5 versus 3 or 4. Huge difference. So yeah, stop rounding and use more precise numbers and decimal points and fractions. and it positions you as the expert there, 100% on there. Yeah, it's like I coach this also, Matt. It's funny you brought up the doctor. So the agent of today has to be more similar to a doctor because the word I want to
Yeah.
throw out here, the client of today needs to feel understood before they're going to commit to work with you. So, like I
Mhm.
said, they have uncertainties. So think about a doctor's visit more than I'll use LP Mama as one of the scripts that a lot of people use, right? Instead of LP Mamaing them right out of the gate. Oh, what brings you into the office today? Oh, we're thinking about buying a house. Oh, how long have you been feeling like that? Oh, what else have you been thinking about? Right? It's just gathering. It's the number one trait of most of the top salespeople is curiosity, right? They want
Yeah.
to learn what they're doing it, why they're doing it, who they're doing it with, if they need to get it done, right? And they're asking all these probing questions. What happens again, all sales are really done at the subconscious level, guys. If I sat here with Matt and I asked him all these questions like a doctor does, right? And then I prescribed what outcome or what we should do to get him the result, he's all bought in. Imagine you walked into the doctor's office, Matt, right? And say Leslie walked in, right, not looking so good. And without asking any questions, the doctor says, "Hey, Leslie, take these 6 pills and come back in 2 weeks." Right? That's what we're like. Oh, let's go buy a house today. The client has a lot on their mind. They don't feel understood. And this is why
Right.
sometimes the ghosting rate up to 50% sometimes, Matt, where the agent's setting the appointment, buyer, I got a buyer, but they didn't do the work they need to do to make the client feel understood, build trust, create certainty. And half the time on some of my teams, the buyer's like, nope, I'm going to find someone else who can understand my situation better. And they don't show up for
Totally.
appointments. So,
And it's that bedside manner. That's why I use the heart surgeon example because we could all relate to that type of moment, right? The experience. But guys, we're in a market where it takes surgical expertise to get somebody's home sold right now in some situations, right? Or to
yeah,
get a buyer past all the fear and uncertainty to actually make a decision.
yeah. The good news about this, because I was going through this talk, and then whenever you're on stage or doing one of these webinars, one of the fears is like we don't want to be the news. We don't want to present doom and gloom. But the
Hmm.
stats are the stats, right? But guys, let me just share with you why this is the most exciting time. Because a guy who's read like 500 books, a lot of them on successful businesses or business people, most of the wealth in this country, when it's created, is created in these markets, markets of transition, in down markets, right? When there's some volatility, the agents, the business owners, entrepreneurs, the teams that are future pacing where the market's going. They're learning these new skills about, like, if you're in South Florida, maybe taking a short sale class right now wouldn't be a bad idea because they're coming, right? They got so much
Hmm.
inventory, prices are dropping. But again, future pacing, like where you need to be, where the markets are going. So when they show up, I mentioned this the other day, Matt, is the experts tell us we bottomed out at like 4 million sales. We'll do about 4.25 or so this year. It's going to climb back up to that 5 million. That's been the average for forever. But what I was explaining to the group, depending on your market, some are softer than others. But if you're in that plus 6, 7 month supply, right, of absorption rate, the only thing that may change for you, and you have to change, otherwise you'll perish, is your most of some of your clients, most of your clients might become investors instead of retail buyers. Right? When
Hmm.
markets get really, really soft, investors who have cash, they come in and they buy a lot of houses, which I will tell you is a better scenario because your first-time home buyer is going to buy one house from you and live there 5 to 10 years. The investor, right? I got investors that do 2 deals a month, every month, right? That could be 24 transactions if you had one of them as your client on there. So it's nothing to be scared about, guys. You should be smiling and be glad because most of the agents will not figure it out. I already see hundreds leaving. There'll be thousands leaving the industry because they're not going to get the education and knowledge from Upgrade or from someone like me or Matt, right? And hey, we've been through the cycle, guys. We know exactly what to do because my market was July of '07. It crashed. So 7, 8, 9, 10. It was the total opposite of what we've experienced. So being through the cycle, I see it. I know exactly what I had to do back then. So now it's easy for me to help teams I'm coaching, other agents I can share. Here's where you got to
Yeah.
pivot. Here's what you got to do differently. And then once you do, the competition doesn't. And now you're selling twice as many homes because the other market, I characterize it this way, Matt. If the speed limit was 75, for the last 10 years, we were driving 95 miles an hour. The market was so fast, right? On there. Could you theoretically we'd have to drive 110 to get ahead of your competition? Not likely, right? But now that the market's slowed down to 75 in some markets, just like a neutral market or a buyer's market at 55 miles an hour, you have
Mhm.
to slow down with them. If you're still coming at them hard on there, but this change, most will not pick up. They're
Yeah.
not in rooms or conversations on there. So you'll see the average unit per agent on the successful ones, because we're still going to sell 4.2 million homes, but only with 29% of the agents. That's a lot of sales per agent that we haven't seen in a long while. Because the fast
Yeah.
market, honestly, anyone could do it, right? Teach them one script and throw them a lead more than any skill. Well, I love Warren Buffett's quote in regards to this. Warren Buffett says, "You'll always know who's not swimming with their shorts on when the tide goes out."
Right.
Right? So everyone on real trends or on social, I'm doing great. Da, da, da. Now that things are getting tougher, I see mergers, I see people folding, I see people, but they looked really good on social for the last year or two, but maybe behind the curtain wasn't as good looking as they were promoting to the social pages.
You know what, Mike, just maybe this is a way to kind of, I don't know what time we're supposed to wrap this up, but I think that's really huge what you just mentioned. Like that cute comment you made from Warren Buffett. When you're thinking about alignment and that one life idea where you're finding that harmony between work and life, but also just making it in this market, period, right? Couple things to lean into there. One would be just identity. I think that's something that Justin and William and Spring, you guys talk about a lot is like, you know what? I'm not the agent who helps investors. Well, maybe you need to be a little bit more open-minded to being that agent right now and thinking about that identity you put on yourself. And you got to have the abundance mindset and go where the opportunities are. But I think what you just said about like when we look at these highlight reels and we look at this, I think one of the most toxic things for me, Mike, personally, I don't think I know, is this comparison and performance culture that we're in when you look at social media. And one thing I love that Spring's fast to say, Justin, you, everybody's quick to say it, is run your own race. You know what? I don't want 90 agents. I don't want Zillow Flex. I don't want what Spring's built. I admire it. I think it's awesome. I have my own vision of what I want to build. And I think that's what everybody needs to be reminded of is run your race. Like what does one beautiful life of meaning and purpose look like for you? And go design it. But if you're looking over your shoulder at somebody else's social media, first of all, that what Mike just said, when that tide comes in, what you're seeing might not even be real. And quite frankly, a lot of times when you're looking at that business that you think is so great, well, it'd be interesting to look at the marriage and the family and the kids and everything else as well. Or you're looking at the family that's got everything looks like it's perfect in their marriage and all the vacations and all that, but they might not be profitable and could be up to debt in their eyeballs. Like we never know the whole story. Mike, you said this to me years ago. Remember, I was having a pity
Yeah.
party to you, and you're like, Matt, I think you're comparing yourself to a whole lot of people I coach. And you're like, you know what? If you could see behind the curtain on some of you, you wouldn't want to trade your life for theirs. And I'm like, it was so encouraging to hear that. So hopefully I encourage somebody listening right now that run your own race, stop looking over your shoulder to everybody else, but also be abundant and don't get stuck in your identity because we need to shift with the market.
Yeah, you have to create like that's it's funny you mentioned this. So we just did this big event in Cancun with Spring and all the inner circle people. We literally probably spent like 25% of the time on the importance of identity and how your identity as you evolve has to grow with you. So I'll give you some examples. Like so the industry I was in before I got into real estate was a meat business. I wore a butcher's frock. I was covered in blood like all day long. And funny, the name of the company was Paul's Quality Meats. And for whatever reason, I tried to stop this, but all my clients needed to call me Paulie. So for 10 years, guys, my name was Paulie. Hey, Paulie's here with me. I'm Paulie, the meat guy. I'm covered in meat. So when I sell the business, I realized this identity was important. I'm going to sell nice homes in Long Island on the North Shore or the Gold Coast. They don't want to work with Paulie, the meat guy. So immediately I went to Macy's back then. I don't know stores. So I got some suits. I went and I bought a new Audi to show I'm successful, right? A briefcase back then was a thing 20 years ago. My tie all dialed in, right? So now my identity was not Paulie the meat guy, right? I was real estate Mike, right? But then, guys, that was going well. And then in 2014, I got a call asked to do some coaching. And I realized, wow, with all this experience I've had in business acumen, Matt, there's a lot of great salespeople in our industry, but they have not a lot of business acumen. So I started teaching them business acumen. And smart, hardworking team leads took a liking to that, and they were starting to scale. So then I was Coach Mike, Coach to the Stars, if you remember. A few of them created that little logo for me or whatever on there. And that was great. So career, like another 10 years went by. And when Spring and I started working together, I said, I want to change my identity again. Because when she would announce me, a lot of times she would announce me as, hey, everyone, this is Coach Mike. He's so great, all that yada, yada. I said, Coach Mike, I'm no longer Spring. I'm now CEO Mike. I run companies, right? So what I post on social, the way I dress, the people I hang out with. So you can see just over the last couple decades, I just keep on working on improving. Like I think
Mm.
about what CEO would say or do or act, dress, and that's why I act now. So it's the same for you guys. If you were just an agent on a team or maybe a sales manager role, you can change your identity and grow into the organization or something. What the recommendation I'd give here, guys, is that book behind me, Good to Great. I think it's chapter 5. They talk about the hedgehog concept, Matt, where we can find out truly what we really love to do day in and day out, what we can be really best at in our industry, and then how do we make money doing that, called the hedgehog concept. I would recommend all you check it out because I
Mm.
realize, specifically in real estate, there's a spectrum of skills and knowledge needed. Right? There's accounting and QuickBooks and numbers and math back here. There's systems and processes for the organized humans. There are sales, right? Going out and bringing in sales, building relationships, and no one is great at all of them. So I'm a big fan of identifying truly in your business, what do you want to do? Are you great at managing the books and systems? So maybe stay in operations and attract salespeople. If you're great at sales, you're going to need the back end support, the assistants and the people to help run the things that you're not naturally good at. And I find if you in your area of genius and your people are as well, like every day they get up and they just get to do what they love to do and they're naturally good at it. That's the
Mm.
sweet spot. It's when we
Yeah.
start doing things we feel like we have to, or because someone told me, or the other person's doing it, so I'm going to do it. I say no, no, no. I say either delegate activities or don't do those because psychologically, I think it slows you down throughout the day on there. So that book, by the way, is Who Not How, right? Another
Yeah.
another great book and teaches you like if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant because there are a lot of administrative tasks that happen if you're a solo agent or a very small team like that, as one example there. And then that goes back to how do you maximize capacity, right? It's one way is through delegation. Here's another thing I mentioned, Matt. As I've been doing this longer and longer, I get a lot of people reaching out and want my time, they want my attention. Know what I learned this year more than ever? You know what the most powerful word in my vocabulary is now? No.
No.
Yeah. I used to want to be everything to everyone. I'll show up here, I'll do this, I'll
Yeah.
do that. And I started to realize if I just stick Matt every day to doing my A activities, right? Helping my clients, hopping on a webinar, the L10 meetings with Spring, right? Those B and C activities could be either delegated or I don't have to worry about them at all sometimes, most of the time. And that's
You
how
know,
I've created the work-life balance for myself is making sure every important thing gets done. But I used to fret if everything didn't get done. Now I don't.
yeah. Yeah. Live with the results, right? Give it everything in the time you have to give it. I'm looking at the time, Mike. Let me just make one last point, maybe as we wrap up
Mhm.
here. One thing that used to be asked all the time to me is, what's your purpose? I know what my purpose is in life. As a Christian, my faith, that's kind of the root of everything I do. But the question of what are your God-given talents? What's your unique abilities? How Dan Sullivan says it. And I used to wrestle with that a lot. And once I got clarity on that, to your point, like once you step into your God-given talents, your unique ability and let other people be in theirs, number one, it's fulfilling for them, it's fulfilling for you. But what I want to say is this is you're also talking about this idea of significance. Rory Vaden, if you guys haven't followed Rory, look him up on Instagram. He's a really great entrepreneurship coach. He's got a company called Brand Builders and a book called Procrastinate on Purpose. But he says this, Mike, he says that, what is significance? Significance, most people operate their schedule in this urgent, important, urgent, not important, like those 4 boxes, right, that we've learned about. He
Yeah.
says, no, get rid of that mindset. It's about significance. And significance is giving yourself the emotional permission today to do what makes tomorrow easier or better, right? And if you think about the fact that I firmly believe we've all been created on purpose, for purpose, uniquely and gifted to each and, for a plan and purpose, uniquely for each of us. Well, significance is me stepping into that. That's where I can make my biggest impact on the world, find the biggest fulfillment in my own life and business and family and so forth. But anything other than that significant thing is a distraction. I never thought about this before, but if you think about like even like the checklist or not delegating the things that you just said because we feel like those are dopamine hits that we feel like, oh, that feels good. It's literally like, man, I would call it I'm very open about my faith and very passionate. I think it's spiritual warfare. Like, I think I have an enemy that says if I can keep Matt from doing anything other than the most significant thing that he's been planned and purposed to do, I win. So it's literally like going to war every day saying, no, I'm not doing this stuff. I'm focused on what I've been planned and purposed to do. But I mean, that's where you need great people around you that keep you on task, that stay in their unique abilities. And so I get passionate about this stuff, dude. But you hit a chord with me when you're talking about unique ability and delegation and all those things. But that's what I think about.
Yeah, actually, you touched on something. It's as I'm getting older, but I still need to learn every day. So another thing I learned within the last year was all humans. So any solo agents out there, you're just getting started. I'll reiterate, all humans. It's not me, Matt, or some. All humans will be inconsistent over time. This is the way our brains are designed to protect us, keep us safe, not push us, let us push each other, us individually too hard. So the only way you're going to achieve your goals, stay on track, whether it's health, relationships, or your business, is you have to have an accountability partner. I'll give you one pro tip I've learned about this is sometimes you pick an accountability partner because they know you, they like you. That's not the right accountability partner. I always frame it this way. The right accountability partner is someone who cares about you so much. And when you ask them to keep you accountable, they'll actually call you out on your shit, right? They won't be like, oh, Matt, that's okay. Try again tomorrow, right? No, that's not an accountability partner. You said I need to do X and I didn't do X. They should be giving you heck. So this is Lisa for me, if you guys don't know. Lisa is like a pit bull to keep me on track, on schedule, affirmations, like you, whatever. She gives me no slack. She's control Matt in my Google Calendar and hey, get in that room. We got a call starting in 2 minutes, right? Or hey, you got to prepare for the vault call tomorrow. Make sure you're ready for that, right? She is my accountability partner to everything in my life. So if you don't have one, find someone who loves and cares about you. Set your goal and say, hey, I'm committed to doing this. Whether it could be exercise, right? Think about it. Without an accountability partner, you go to the gym, 5 days a week on a regular basis. No, your brain will tell you, oh, you had a hard day today, or it'll tell you you need some more sleep today, right? Don't go to the gym. And your brain will eventually win unless you have the accountability. I'll give you another example of this, Matt. We've got a couple minutes. So Matt asked me, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, hey, dude, you want to start sharing gratitudes in the morning? And I was like, yeah, I never thought. I've been doing them myself for years. And I thought I was consistent, Matt. I really did. I get up, I sit in this desk almost every day. And then I started to realize days that I'm really busy, weekends especially, I never do gratitudes. But all of a sudden I get this ping from Matt and he sends over like on a Saturday his gratitudes. I'm like, oh shit. Run into the office, right? Get my remarkable out. And you've helped me accomplish so many more gratitude days just already. We're halfway through the year because
Yeah.
I'm busy or I was traveling. You probably noticed I missed a couple of days while I was in Cancun. But I felt guilty, even though I'm there speaking and working. I'm like, oh my God, I missed it. But I wouldn't even think about it twice. Like if you didn't send me those, I don't know, I'd just get back on track when I got back to the States and all good. So that's one. Thank you. Right, just being able to do my gratitudes every day, almost 7 days a week now since we started doing that. So that's a good
Yeah.
example of accountability, right? It's simple, right? He's not beating me with a stick, but man, the guilt I feel when he sends his over and I don't send mine back is real. So I don't want to do that. So I make sure to get on it almost 7 days a week, which makes my whole life, my attitude, my mindset better. 7 days a week now, not just like 3 to 5.
Yeah. And it's even amazing something like that. Like, when accountability, like you said, doesn't have to be cracking the whip. It's just the encouragement. Like, okay, Mike found time to do it today. I can find time to do it today. Or I'm struggling today, but just reading your gratitudes or somebody else's, and it's like, oh wow, like, well, I have that in my own life too. That I haven't thought about being grateful for that recently. That's huge. Like today, I put air conditioning. It's 150 degrees in Vegas. Like I had a friend text me. He goes, I think that's hilarious. I was like, well, you don't live in Las Vegas. It's hot here. So,
Yeah, I went outside first thing this morning. I'm like, oh, it's hot already.
yep,
Uh,
yep.
on there. So yeah. So wrapping up. So this is just I don't know. I'll let you speak for yourself, Matt. But this is we talked about purpose. So 100%. I figured this out. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, guys. I have one purpose in life, and it's simply to help improve the quality of other people's lives. And I do most of that through business, helping them figure out how to make a business, I don't know, more profitable or fixing a problem. So if there's anyone here on the call and I could help you, you got a quick question, I'm always yes. I just love giving back because I learned from Zig Ziglar, Matt. The more I help other people get what they want, the more I get what I want. And Jim Rohn
Yeah.
said my success in life is directly proportional to the amount of value I add to others, right? Not what I take from them. So my Instagram handle is just my name _ there. Or if you want to reach out, I'm always happy to help anyone that might have a question or whatever, something we covered on the call today. And if I could help you get through it on a quick call, I'm always a yes. So I always put that out there. Matt, how do you want to close up for yourself?
Yeah, I'll just echo that. I mean, I think everything, I was very clear, but everything in my business, my life is really rooted in my faith, my relationship with God. But the way that fleshes out into the real estate space for me is this One Life idea. So I'm launching a podcast. I'd love for you guys to follow along, but I really want to build this community where we're having intentional conversations around building one beautiful life. So if you're struggling to find that harmony between work and life, or how to build the business to support the marriage, support the life that you want by design, that's what makes my heart sing. So I'd love to collaborate, love to connect. Have actually a retreat coming up in the fall. I just shared with Mike in spring and early October. We're going to be doing a Better Together One Life marriage and business retreat. So ping me for more information on that. And like Mike said, my handle is @MattFarnham, real easy on Instagram. So let's connect. Appreciate the opportunity to share with everybody today, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, no, this was great. Thanks so much for Matt and all the shares and everyone who joined us. Appreciate that. Always grateful to be able to share to you guys. So enjoy your day. We're finished right on time, so I'll respect that. And we'll talk to everybody soon. So long, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.